Brandin Podziemski joins us here on the show on draft night. Brandin, thank you for doing it. How are you, and what do you remember about that night about a year ago?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm doing well. Still a long way in the offseason to go, but for a lot of people, it's the start of a new career, new beginnings. And I remember last year being in the same situation and the anxiety of not knowing where you're going to go, but then at the end of the night, finally finding out where you're going to go. And it was an amazing feeling for me and my family, a goal that was accomplished that we had set out to do for, some years, and got to be around the people I love most. So it was a great experience.
It's easy to say that it's great that you were a Golden State Warrior because you were at Santa Clara nearby and obviously a 4-time championship team. But how excited and how stoked were you that it was the quote-unquote local team that grabbed you in a team that you could immediately join?
Yeah, I was very excited. Definitely to join a team that has championship caliber experience. Obviously on the same night we traded for CP as well. So just kind of going through all those kind of things. But, selfishly you think about, am I going to play? Am I not going to play? And from the looks of it, it didn't really look like I was going to play. And, obviously that was a little bit, kind of scary at first just to kind of go through that. I was thinking somewhat of a Illinois storyline of maybe I'd have to sit out a year and just kind of watch and be in the G League, and then year 2 would kind of be in my year to play. But fortunately, I got my chance early on in the season, and I kind of ran with it. So I guess it's a blessing to have it both ways.
Brandin Podziemski with us. Brandin, you can answer this either way you want, as a Warrior or just as a person who's now lived right here in the city for the last year or so. Like, what have been your impressions of that? How is your perspective of the Warriors and San Francisco and all of that different now than maybe it was a year ago?
Yeah, I think just a year ago, not knowing much about San Francisco, knowing a little bit about the Bay, mostly familiar with San Jose, Santa Clara area, but being able to just expand, what I get to do, what I get to see. Obviously, we've been done since April, so the offseason is pretty long. So just kind of getting to go out, see some things, but really just, honing in on the work and what it's going to take to make a big push in year 2. And that's really just been my main focus these last 8 weeks, and will be the next, 16.
What is the work that you're honing in on? Because you made such a splash, and I'm looking at the note here, you became the first Warrior rookie since Steph to have 20, 10, and 5 in a single game. You had such a big rookie year. You were all rookie team. When you look back at your rookie year, where are the areas that you're hoping to improve in the most?
Yeah, honestly, it seems probably pretty simple, but scoring the ball more. Just talking to Steve and Mike at the end of the year meetings on, what kind of shots I'm going to get, what kind of shots they want me to take. Obviously with being another year under your belt, you're going to get a little bit more leash and have an opportunity to score the ball more. And they know that, my passing and my rebounding is always going to translate and playing hard and stuff like that. That's just something I've always had. And so now it's just how can I, take that next step as a year 2 player and be able to contribute offensively a little bit more. And then just defensively, playing along Steph, just being that point of attack defender and taking the burden off him so, he doesn't have a tough assignment in terms of a guard matchup every night.
Brandin, you're way younger than me, but I want to ask you for some advice. I have 3 kids. I always tell them I think the key to life is waking up every day with confidence, and it's not easy to give to young people. Everyone I've ever talked to says that you might be the most confident person they've ever been around. How do you do it? Where does it come from?
Yeah, I think it comes from a bunch of different places. I think part of it is growing up around a family that is about winning and wants to win at everything you do. And I think another part of it is the work that you put into stuff like this, that you care about, and knowing that, you put it in for a reason. And, history always repeats itself, and, those who put in the work before you, tend to have success. So you kind of follow that model. And, a lot of the greats are really confident, super confident. You look at Kobe, Michael, even Steph, just super confident people because they believe in, what they put into the game. So they feel like they will get that in return. So I think those 2 things, but then, fortunately basketball is not a predominantly white man sport. So, half the battle is kind of looking the part. And for me, just kind of showing I belong, just from a look perspective, I think it's a big thing for me. So I think a combination of those three things is what's kind of just led me to have that daily confidence in myself.
Brandin Podziemski here on 95.7 The Game, and you definitely came in with a swagger from day one, and it was easy to see from those of us on the outside looking in. How important was it, or how nice was it for you to have TJD, another rookie alongside, also make a big impact for a team that has so many veterans?
Yeah, it's very important to share similar experiences. I've said it many times, just going through the ropes with him, Summer League, G League, playing the rotation, not playing the rotation, starting together, not starting together. Just to have that experience with him, being another rookie, made the transition kind of very seamless, just because you had someone else to lean on, had someone that was sharing the same experiences with you. So to have that is super big. And I think for me and him, it's going to be really important to, whoever we draft tomorrow, to kind of put them under our shoulders and take them under their wing, because it'd only be them. We only have obviously one pick, so take them under and kind of show them the ropes is kind of our job now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Brandin, last year you were about to get drafted. This year, you're now an established NBA player that has to deal with this time of year as July approaches and all of the player movement and the rumors that go around with that. I haven't heard really any involving you, but I would imagine every player has at least the thought in the back of their mind that they don't know what's about to happen next. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, for me, I'm a very simple, realistic person. If something happens, it's going to be for the right reason. And for me, from a team's perspective, whoever shows up on October 1st is what we have to work with. And that's just what my mindset will be. So whatever happens these next few months, whoever shows up to training camp day one in the Warriors uniform is what we have to go with for the 2025 season. And that's how I'll roll.
I'm sitting here in the team store with my main man, Mark Willard, and I'm just looking up here, and I see a number 2 jersey, Podziemski, hanging, and I mean, it's right next to Kuminga. There's some Currys, there's some Thompsons, Wiggins, and all the rest of it. What's that moment like for you when you walk in the arena and you see people rocking the 2, or you come in the team store and you see a rack full of your jerseys? Do you have that oh wow moment still, or are you kind of over that?
I definitely did, for sure. Seeing my, people with my jerseys, especially some Santa Clara jerseys at the games, definitely a cool thing for me. And you take a step back and you realize, like, oh wow, people, are really fans and really enjoy, getting to watch me play, and so much that they have a jersey of mine. So see that is, pretty cool. It means I think I'm doing the right things. And I think for me, it's just, how can, I have other parents and, kids want to aspire to be like me, because I feel like my story can be shared with a lot of people and they can relate. And by just doing that, I think it's cool to see that in return, they sacrifice and give up their money to buy my jersey.
Brandin, we saw you earlier in the playoffs try to take our jobs. We saw you.
That was awkward.
Yeah, we saw you show up and interview Luka, and wanted to get a little bit of a reaction to that, but maybe ask it in this way. Now that you're a professional sports media guy, what question, if you could have one, would you ask yourself if you were us right now?
I feel like my question to myself, if I was in your perspective or your shoes, would be just how I got here and how was I able to mentally stay the course through a lot of adversity that didn't necessarily go how you have envisioned it. I think that'd be my question, because, it is tough and it is a journey and everyone's is different. But for me personally, just like how I got through the circumstances I had to get through to get where I am now.
All right, so how did you get to where you are today, and how did you mentally persevere through all that you had to deal with?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot, but it all comes down to, what your goals are in life, what your motivations are, and what you want from yourself. I knew the school, the 9-to-5 job wasn't kind of the route I ever wanted to be in. Not saying that's a bad thing or people can't be successful from it, but I knew I wanted to be a sports player, whether it was baseball or basketball. So anything that kind of got in the way of that, I just kind of eliminated that. But in terms of the distractions and stuff like that, I just knew that, God would never give me something I couldn't handle. And I always knew that I would get to where I wanted to get to. So anything that, I had trouble with or I didn't play, I just looked at it in a different light of how could I use this to help me be better in the future. And I thought that's what I would have to do this first year with the Warriors, thinking I would be in Santa Cruz a lot. So how could I use this year to propel myself for next year so there's no question in Steve's mind or Mike's mind that I should be playing a lot. Obviously, tables are different. I did play a lot. But that's just kind of my mindset of everything. That's a struggle for me is just how can I attack it and how can I get around it to be better so there is no doubt in anybody's mind that I'm capable.
And that's kind of the mindset you took up on the bump when you threw out the first pitch with the Giants. Was that a moment where you were thinking about a fallback career? Looked like you took that first pitch pretty seriously, Brandin.
No, I did. It was a dream come true for my dad for sure. He wanted me to be a baseball player. He still does. So for him to be there and see that, it was really cool. But I always felt if I could play and the Giants offered me a contract, I definitely would play. Baseball is still a love of mine. It's still a passion. I'm still good at it, fortunately. But yeah, it's just something I've, never really had to work at. It's just something, a natural gift I had. But yeah, if I could play again, I definitely would.
Dude, all of their pitchers are hurt. They're all hurt, Brandin. Have you called? Have they called?
No, they haven't. But if the day comes, you might see me in a Giants uniform.
There you go. Game time's about 2.5 hours away. I don't know if number 2 is available, but I feel like we can get you up there on the bump. They could probably use you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the way most people respond about the Giants pitching right now. But anyway, Brandin, great stuff. Great kind of going down memory lane of a year ago tonight. So much has changed. And so here we go to get to do it again. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate having me.
There it is. That's Brandin.